Well, now I'm your host, Lambo Drew. You are now tuned into another edition of the Leverage Show. But today, this is definitely no longer the Lambo Show for today with the Leverage Show with Lambo Drew. This is actually Relationship Talks with Tracy Taris. So make sure y'all are tapped in, tuned in, and making sure y'all are sharing this video. It's going to be amazing tonight. Y'all going to definitely love the format. You're going to definitely love the way how things are and how we literally structure something different tonight that's really going to help out a lot of great people. Make sure you guys are definitely sharing this because this is going to bless people's man galore, man, for what we're getting ready to come on here tonight and actually talk about. So couples, if you guys got some couples, if you're single, enjoying and maximizing your single season and want some good tips, y'all do not want to miss this. I'm trying to tell y'all this. It's going to be amazing tonight. It's going to be a really good exercise when me and Tracy will come on and we're going to talk a little bit. And then we're going to go on ahead, man, and going to bring a few people in the threads that's really going to bless people and bless your life tonight. So make sure you guys are definitely tapped in, tuned in, and we are going to make sure we make this happen. Listen, I want to see who is in the threads tonight. We're going to definitely tap in and see who's on the broadcast. My guy Kennard Haney said, man, what's up, Lambo and Mr. Johnson? Knock the show out of the park. Do what you do, Lambo. Welcome back, Tracy. Oh, showing love to Miss Tracy. Thank you, Kennard. You already know what time it is, man. Thank you for definitely holding down that number one top spot. Kennard Haney, man, says, what's up, LA Law? Tracy Hughes, GJ, 400,000, Blue Sky, Cutie Potato for Life, Cynthia Davis, Jamal Titus, Points Blank Travel, and the entire Leverage Show family, and of course, Larry the Lion, man. Shout out to you, man, Kennard. I know you were traveling. You said that you were traveling. You were in the car driving to North Lake. Tennessee may be not as active on the chat. Oh, he's going to Tennessee. So you may not be as active on the chat. Well, thank you so much. Because that is truly a blessing and stuff like that, man, to see you going to North Lakes. Man, enjoy yourself out there at Kennard Haney in North Lake, Tennessee. Let me know what's popping out there. I don't know if you're going by yourself, solo dolo, or you're going with you and Kim. But definitely let me know. Make sure you guys have an amazing time. Shout out to you and everything. Money, I see you in the building. Shout out to you, champ. I see you in the building. You know what time it is. Shout out to you, LA Law. I see you in the building. Happy Thursday, everyone. Good to see you, Kennard, Money, and Lamine. Yes, it definitely is. Excited about this one, man. Make sure you guys are all tapping in. Cutie Potato for Life says, hello, everyone. Showing love. Money is definitely saying hello, LA Law. Thank you. Listen, we are definitely ecstatic about this one tonight. We're not getting ready to go on ahead and prolong it anymore. We're ecstatic about our host, our special host, who is definitely no stranger to the broadcast. Miss Tracy Taris coming back to the Leverage Show, which we have now reformed the Leverage Show as of this point as Relationship Talks with Tracy Taris. So we're loving this. Listen, let's go ahead and give Tracy a warm welcome and welcome her back to the Leverage Show. How you doing, Miss Tracy?
I'm doing well. How are you, Mr. Drew?
Hey, we are doing well. We're enjoying it. Excited about tonight. Talk to us. You've had a very interesting couple of 2 months since the last time you've actually been to the show. Talk to us. Tell us what's new. What's been going on with you?
Well, I joined this women's organization called Zonta International. And I joined the chapter here, and it fights for the rights of women and girls all over the world. And it's a lot of volunteer work. Like some of the women, and I don't see how they do as much as they do. And I can see that I'm going to have to pace myself because I have, my practice and stuff going on. But it's really an honor and a pleasure to be connected with women that, just care so much about women and girls all over the world, and just some of the things that they're doing. I started working on my second book.
Okay.
The working title is it's Anchored Soul. So it's going to be, we're going to be, there was another book that I was working on as a second book, but I feel like the spirit led me to this one. And so I'm working on a book proposal for that, and we'll be sending that to my agent, shortly. And,
Okay.
just working the practice, seeing people, helping people through their relationships. Couples is one of my favorite formats of therapy. Like I like working with individuals and families and teenagers, but couples are my favorite population.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? There's nothing like couples getting out there, man. And tonight's show, we're gonna dig dive into that just a little bit more with couples as well. So definitely tap in. Not you gotta let us know this new book. With any anticipation of release dates or anything coming out with that, because kind of really excited about it, ain't it? So or it's just in the works right now.
It's just in the like a book proposal, consists of what this book is about, why it's needed, what need it's going to meet,
Mhm.
the table of contents, summary of each chapter, and then the first three chapters. And so where I am is I'm in the middle of chapter 2. So hopefully within the next month or so, because the first three chapters, that's the last part of it. So I'm in the middle of chapter 2. And so hopefully within the next month or so, it'll be shopped around and things like that. So we'll,
Okay.
yeah, but I'll definitely let you know, like, release dates and yeah.
Let us know all that good stuff because books here do great, great, great right here with the family that we actually have here. We're excited about that. You know, Tracy, I would really, really, really love to go on ahead and kind of let you go on ahead and take over and deep dive into some of the subjects and some of the things that we're gonna tackle tonight. And then we'll actually kind of bring some couples in right after that, if that's okay with you.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So we talked about via email the idea of tonight's show being about
Mhm,
tackling relationship issues. And so the two issues that I was going to talk about is the one of forgiveness and letting go.
mhm.
That's one issue. And then and why that's important.
Yeah.
And then doing a checkup in your marriage like every week. And so the thing about forgiveness and letting go, why that's such a big issue is because sometimes people will decide that they're going to stay married and they're
Mhm,
going to be in this relationship, but then they won't let go of things that they've decided, either they're decided to forgive it, or they've decided they're not going to forgive it, and they've decided to keep bringing it up over and over. I've worked with people whereby there's a thought that one person might have in their mind that I'm never going to let him forget this, because if I forgive this, or if I let him think that I've forgotten it, then it's going to happen again, and then I'm going to feel this way again. So then there's this belief that if I hold this over his head, or hold this over the head in the marriage, then I'm safe, because he sees he's not going to want to make me this mad, or she, like if it's the woman that has
mhm,
done something wrong, she's not going to want to go through this again with me.
mhm.
And so one of the things that I tell couples that are coming in, especially if they're trying to decide whether or not to stay married, is to make a decision. Because if you
Yeah.
do stay married, the only way it's going to be healthy, and the only way you're going to rebuild whatever what was broken, is if you decide to name what it is that's in your system and in your heart and that has happened, and figure
Mhm.
out what you're going to do about it. Like, figure out if you're going to release it or not.
Yeah, I think that's so important in this age because, and Tracy, I mean, you've been here so many times before, but I think that letting go is like one of the biggest things in people's lives that they don't know how to do because they're so
Yeah.
used to saying, "Hey, if I let it go, does it really get let go? Do I really get the right healing for this? Or, is it any light at the end of the tunnel for this?" You're so right and 100% right of dealing with couples like that. They will hold that over your head until they go into the grave, which
Mhm.
it to them, it doesn't bring a sign of healing. And I
Mm-mm.
see it over and over again with a lot of couples that literally, man, you may run in contact with and say, yeah, 30 years ago this happened or 40 years ago this happened. And the couple is still hanging it over the head, almost like they're hanging an ornament on a Christmas tree.
Well, I think the thing that fuels that is our tendency as people, whether we're married or not, to live our lives based on what we don't want instead of
Mm.
living our lives based on what we do want. So like for instance, if you grew up and you had a dad, that was a yeller and a screamer all the time, and you decide, I'm not going to be a yeller or screamer, I'm not going to yell at my kids, and so what you end up doing is you don't raise your kids. There's no
Yeah.
discipline because you're so afraid of being like your dad that they do all kinds of stuff that needs to be corrected for their own good, but you're not
Mhm.
doing it because you're living your life based on who you don't want to be rather than who you do want to be. And
Mm.
we all do that, like there's people that want to go into the creative field. One of the reasons I never pursued my writing is because I didn't want to be a starving artist. I,
Yeah.
I want to eat. I want to, pay my rent, in a way that's, not a struggle for me, because my mom
Yeah.
was a single mom and we were always struggling. So instead of pursuing my creativity, the only thing I knew about creativity is that, there's people that are always starving artists. And so instead of living my life and doing, hi, Nikki, instead of
My
living my
girl,
life and like I wanted to live, I did the opposite. So when that shows up in marriage, what's happening is instead of the person deciding to have a great marriage and to move forward, they're deciding what they're not going to have. They're not going to be in this
Mhm.
situation again. So then they opt to hold the grievance over their partner's head, thinking that that's going to keep them safe. But you can't control anybody else's behavior. If a person's going to
Mm.
do something, they're going to
They gonna
do
do it
it. And when and if
regardless.
they do it, then you have a decision to make. You have to decide what it is you're going to do about that, if
Mhm.
anything. And but in the meantime, living your life one day at a time with your eye on the, wherever it is you're going. Like what's the
Mhm.
horizon out there that you're moving towards, and not living like this. Like I'm going to just keep looking behind me because this terrible thing happened and I'm afraid that it's going to happen again.
I'm telling you what, Miss Tracy, you are a godsend. You don't know how many people you're helping out just with that. And people coming to the table to have a conversation with this and about these things. I have people I know who are in their 60s and 70s, and they're having this same issue of stuff that happened years ago. And they can't get past it for some odd reason because they really never sat down and had nobody actually of your caliber and your value and all the expertise you have to be able to talk with them and help guide them through this.
Yeah, a lot of times the reason is fear-based. When
Mm.
when we live according to what we're not going to have or what we don't want,
Mhm.
that's fear of actually having that. And a lot of times people do recreate that in their
Mhm.
lives. But when we live according to what we do want and where we want to go, then we're always moving forward. We're always looking forward. And, if you're going to do that and stay with the person that you're with for your own peace of mind,
Mhm.
forgiveness is essential. Like there's a saying that says unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Mm. That's facts. I've heard that, and that is facts.
Hmm.
That is facts.
Yeah.
Do you think that more people, though, and I want to say this, more people are more traumatized by the incident or by the action that in life they have just refused and drawn a line in the sand that I'm never gonna really get past this, but I'm just gonna deal with it the best way I know how to mask the pain.
Yeah, I think a lot of us will do that. And part of that is let's say something traumatic happened to you in your relationship. And on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say it's a 10,
Mhm.
right? But if you're feeling it like at a 15 or an 18, then that's
Mhm.
probably on top of whatever it is you've experienced that is that 10. You're allowing something from your past, whether it's your family of origin or whether it's a previous relationship, to amplify and make bigger whatever it is that you have currently experienced. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is enough. 10
Mm.
is more than most of us, can handle. But to be bringing in, things from your childhood that have not been, processed or overcome, or things from previous relationships, you're just digging yourself deeper and deeper. And it makes it difficult for you to come out of that and be happy. I mean, don't you want to be happy? You can
Yeah.
be, but it depends on the choices you make, not only in your behavior, but in how you choose to believe and how you choose to think. I'm gonna get my water.
Yep, not a problem. Not a problem. For those who are actually struggling out here, I want Tracy tonight. We're gonna kind of deep dive in with also another set of couples, and I'm also going to be bringing my wife on here as well. So y'all guys are getting ready to see exactly some really amazing things that's getting ready to happen. But before this, I really want Tracy to begin to start allowing people to say, "Hey, I've been in this place in life where I haven't forgave people. And there's some people who are not in relationships who haven't forgiven people and they can't move on. How do
Yeah.
they move on when that barrier in their life of unforgiveness, and we talked about this before on the broadcast, that barrier
Mhm.
just seems to be so much weight that they feel that they just can't move on, and neither can they trust anyone else moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, starting with the idea that when you forgive someone, it's more for you than for them. It doesn't mean that what they did is okay.
Mhm.
It doesn't nullify what they did, like mean that it didn't happen, or it doesn't minimize what they did. Like if what they did was a 10, it's still a 10, whether you
Mhm.
forgive them or not. It doesn't turn it into a 3 or something like that. And it doesn't even mean that you have to remain in the relationship. Like if you're
Mhm.
married, hopefully you do and you figure out a way to work through that. But there are relationships that you have that you're holding on, to stuff because you think, okay, I've set my boundary. I don't want anything else to do with this person. I need to move on.
Mhm.
But then you're carrying that hurt and that pain with you and poisoning yourself. And you're not even
Yeah.
in relationship with this other person anymore. So knowing that, forgiveness does not equal reconciliation is very important. And I think that a lot of people who have held on to things, once they realize, oh, I don't really have to be in relationship with this person if I forgive them, then it
Mhm.
makes the forgiveness and the letting go, the releasing of it easier, or
Mhm.
more likely to occur, you
Okay.
know?
So, do you think that most of us, let's just say people who are in relationships, it can be as small as, hey, you didn't go on ahead and tuck the cover in, and you didn't make up the bed and stuff. Do you think that those small little things like that can actually be signs of somebody just really agitating you and then asking for unforgiveness and things like that happen, or does it require some of the more larger scale things, like some of the things we see people like or literally end up in divorce court over?
Mhm. Well, it depends because sometimes it is like people doing little things or not doing little things could just be not be a person is not being considerate, or they're just not thinking about it, or they're just being nitpicky because they're in an irritable state of mind and have been in an
Hmm.
irritable state of mind. But sometimes it can be a sign that if you're picking at little things, that there's a bigger problem that you need to attend to, that you're
Hmm.
not attending to. So you're taking all of these little things as if it's like death by a thousand cuts,
Yeah.
like I'm going to do all these little cuts, and deal with this, but you're not dealing with it. You have to look at whatever is the big issue and decide what you're going to do with it. Like sometimes I'll say to people that are in a state of where they're not moving forward, there's no movement, there's no healing, they're not making any changes. Sometimes I'll say something like, it's your choice to stay
Hmm.
in this relationship. But if you stay, understand that it is what it is and it's not going to be any different. And then you have to figure out a way to come to terms with that and stop demanding of the person what that person has told you over and over or shown you over and over they're not going to do. And you find a way to be at peace within that. Or you can leave. You can
Mm.
decide for yourself that this isn't going to get any better. I don't see any evidence of this changing. This thing that you keep doing over and over, you've been doing since the beginning of our marriage, or that I've been doing, since the beginning of our marriage. We've been to therapy, assuming you've been to therapy. We've been to therapy.
Mhm.
We've talked to pastors. We've talked to friends, and there's just no movement on this. What are you going to do with that? Whatever you do, like find a way to make a decision and stand on that decision and be at peace with it.
Mm.
Because you have the power to leave, most of the time. I mean, there's like some situations and circumstances where either the person does not have that power or the person's
Mhm.
mind is so
Mm.
imprisoned that they think they don't have that power to
Mm.
leave.
Tracy, you are hitting on so many different cylinders right now. Do you know that I know so many people that they I don't know if you remember the old Donnell Jones song "Where I Want to Be." You remember that
Mhm.
song? You don't remember that
How does
song?
it go?
It's say when you love someone, you just don't treat
Hmm.
them bad. Oh, how I feel so sad now that I want to leave. She's crying her heart to me. How could that this be? I just need time to see where I want to be. And I
Mm.
think that there are so many people who are in that place in their life. I'm talking about even within relationships, trying to figure out where do they want to be at. They really don't want to hurt the individual. They really don't want to know if they can move forward, but they're trying to figure out how can they come to a common ground in relationships. And I don't think that enough relationships now have a common ground or have a
Yeah.
neutral place where the understanding is between the two individuals or the couple that allows them to be able to have a breath of fresh air in their relationship. And it
Yeah.
almost seems like they're suffering in their relationship. Could you speak on that a little bit?
Well, I'll start it like with this idea. Like there's been research, like most people say opposites attract, right?
Hmm.
And opposites do attract. But what the research shows is that the relationships that last the longest, there may be opposites that attracted in the beginning, but as the couple grow together and they move on in life together, they find that they have more in common than they thought, or they develop more in
Mm.
common than they thought. And so in my work with people, what I've learned is that uh, well, before I say this, sometimes people come to therapy for couples therapy to figure out what they want to do. Like most people come to couples therapy because they want to save their marriage, they've been working at it, and they can't figure it out on their own. And so they're coming in for help with that. But some people come in to decide whether or not they want to get a divorce or whether or not they want to stay. And since I'm a marriage and family therapist, I'm always advocating for the side of staying. I mean, it's
Yeah,
their
yeah.
it's up to them, but I'll give them as many tools and help them in any way I can, but at the end of the day, it's up to them.
Mm.
So what I've learned is that yeah, people are attracted
Hmm.
to people that seem to be opposite of them, but the ones that actually end up working are the ones that are on the same spectrum. So like he
Hmm.
might be way over here and she might be way over there. It's kind of like they're not the same person, but they're on the same spectrum, kind of like hot and cold. Like when does hot stop being hot and becomes cold? When it moves
Yeah,
over, right?
yeah.
When it's cold, stop being cold and it gets hot. It when it moves over. So like when you
Hmm.
have a couple that seem to be like when people say they grow apart
Yeah.
or they don't have any common interests or they're probably if they've been successful at some point in their relationship and they had the heat and they had the fire and they had the friendship and they had the
Hmm.
intimacy and they had a great relationship, probably if they both were to move, on along the spectrum where she kind of calms some things or brings some things out more, or he calms some things or brings some things out more, and meet in the middle,
Mm.
then that's where they can sit down. And I mean, all along they're sitting down working it. But usually what people will find is that they complement each other, and if you
Yeah.
can find ways to complement each other and figure out, what is it that I need to work on for the betterment of myself that's going
Mhm.
to better the relationship, and what is it that you need to work on for the betterment of yourself that's going to ultimately better the relationship, and then what can we do together or stop doing so that
Mhm.
there's the relationship is better.
So that brings me to my next question. Do you believe that in working with relationships like that? Because I deal with different couples, man, all the time. I got couples who said we have a great communication relationship, but this area of us having fun and us, being spontaneous and enjoying ourselves, that area is lacking. Or they may say, hey, the intimacy part is lacking. I've got couples who said, yo, we haven't even really been intimate in like months or even a year. I know some couples longer than that. Is there a breakdown between the two, even if there is communication going in other areas of their life? And how can they fix that? How can they actually begin to start coming back to the neutral grounds in that?
Well, one of the things I've learned in working with couples is no matter what they're coming in with, it's
Hmm.
at the heart of it, it's one of the two things that you just named, like friendship. There's been a breakdown in the friendship or a breakdown in the intimacy. And
Hmm.
so that's where you would start, is like looking at what drew you guys together in the first place, like what, and
Hmm.
doing some of the things that you've done, in the beginning of the relationship. So yeah, like there are things that each person has to work on as an individual, and then work together so that they can come together and figure out what they want to do with this relationship.
Hmm.
Did,
So
did I answer your question or?
no, you did, because I think that there's so many people that they're praying. Like I know, like literally, they are going to church, praying, believing that God will help save their marriage, right?
Mhm.
And they have tried therapy in so many different ways. And I get people, man, they say, Drew, our relationship is still not there. Shout out to your JT band in the house, man. And there's like our relationship is still not there. There's nothing clicking to the part that once they clicked and probably had kids together and all of this other stuff that is no longer there. I got
Yeah.
people praying and believing God to put the fire back into their marriage on the
Mhm.
romance side of things or the communicative side of things. But they
Mhm.
don't want to go on ahead and just be another statistic and then go on ahead and
Yeah.
then divorce and go to separate ways. I'm telling you, these are people who've been together and got some years together. This is no
Yeah.
2 to 5 years. They've got years together.
Yeah. Well, when we ask God to, save our marriage, or, put the fire back in our marriage, what he will do. I mean, I don't think that he will just go like that. I mean, there
Yeah.
might be some cases, where that's the case, but he will more than likely send resources. And whether
Mhm.
that's like a therapist, or whether that's a book or a television show that you saw, or something, some article that you read, but whatever information you get, it's only information until you apply it. A lot of
Mhm.
times when people say therapy didn't work, it's either it wasn't the right therapist for them, because every therapist, like there's different ways of being. Like some therapists will sit there and just kind of listen, and how does that make you feel, and
Yeah.
because they want you to dig deep and come up with the answers yourself. I think that people do have the answers inside, and that, but my job is to help them to peel back the layers. And so I will ask a lot of questions, but I
Mhm.
will also give tools and direction, right? So when you go to therapy and it doesn't work, either you didn't have the right therapist for you, or you didn't do the work, because it's
You didn't put
just
the work in yourself.
information.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like if I'm telling you to, okay, go home. Like if someone's coming in and they haven't had sex in 2 months, or however long that you said,
Mhm.
then the homework might be, I need you guys to have sex every Tuesday and Thursday, or every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's not going to be spontaneous, and yeah, it's not going to be this and that. But if this is the area that you want to work on, the only way it's going to make a change is if you do the work, and
Mm.
be creative with this, right? And
So
so whatever is the problem, and the direction that's given, if you don't go in that direction, it's not going to magically, change. You have to put in some changing behaviors in order for it to change.
that goes along with my next question. So that is, So that's a good thing for a therapist to say, hey, I want y'all to go on ahead and try to knock some boots on Tuesdays and Thursdays or
Yeah.
once every single other week. I got literally therapists who have told people who've been married over 30, 40 years, told them straight to their face, oh, well, if it's not working or nothing's not happening, then it just must not be working right. And you're
Yeah.
saying a more healthier way would be, hey, go try it. I mean, I know you guys haven't been intimate, and it may be menopause, it may be a bunch of different factors that are taking
Hmm.
place. You're saying, hey, go try it. Go put a little flame to it, put a little spark to it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a therapist that will say, well, it's not working out, giving that therapist the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there has been a lot of things that have been tried and applied,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still not, working or whatever. So maybe that is the case. But again, that's a different style of therapist. There are therapists out there that are like, every person is an island unto themselves. And if your boundaries are crossed, then
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you need to get out of there. So, but that's a style of therapy for sure. Hmm.
And we're intrigued about this because I love the whole thing of relationship in couples. I love me and my wife been married, going on 20 years. It's been 18 years now, and I look at how things are. Larry and T, who you guys are going to be in a minute, they've been married over 20 years now. I look at the relationship and us seeing that no, a lot of people are not even fighting for relationships no more. They're just letting them go by the wayside and giving up and saying, you know what, we're done. I've got people who are 30, 40 years in are giving up on relationships and marriage now. How
Yeah.
does that not go that direction, even with all the other signs? And then what are some signs, if you can actually talk with the people out there, that their relationship may be doing this and may need to have that come to Jesus moment where to sit down with a real therapist?
Well, when you see people that have been married 30, 40 years and still go and get a divorce, what that
Mm-hmm.
is an accumulation of little pileups over the years. And people will sometimes get to the point where they absolutely cannot take it anymore. And it might be, those couples that last that long, it might be there hasn't been anything disastrous like an affair or some kind of addiction
Mm-hmm.
to drugs or alcohol or gambling or porn or anything like that. None of those, no domestic violence, nobody's beating anybody up, nothing that's super obvious. But it's the little things, like I said, the death by a thousand cuts. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of, when you see that, when you see marriages that have lasted 30, 40 years, it might be that those big things were going on and people were ignoring them, one side or the other or both. But it also could be the death by a thousand cuts thing where
Yeah.
there's just this little nick and that little nick, and then 30 years in, there's no more blood left in the
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And then there's things like when your question of what will couples see when they, what kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
they'll see when they know that they're doing this. Not having an interest in each other, not wanting to hang out, or nitpicking, feeling irritable and critical about, everything. Like John Gottman is a psychologist. Him and his
Mm-hmm.
wife did a lot of research on couples, and there were four types of couples, four things that were going on in marriages that he can predict with like 90% accuracy or something like that, which ones were
Mm-hmm.
going to fail eventually. And it was like four different things, either um, being critical,
Mm-hmm.
doing something like stonewalling, which is shutting down. Um, what were the other two? Critical, stonewalling, contempt, where you're rolling your eyes, and defensiveness. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything that your partner says, that you're defending it. You're being defensive all the time. You're being critical all the time. You've allowed contempt to build up in your heart, where you can't see any light in your partner, any good in your
Mm-hmm.
partner. And what was the fourth one? Contempt, stonewalling, where you shut down, like you don't even care to engage in the conversation or care to engage in the argument or the communication or the conflict to get to the other side. You're just
mm,
waiting for it to be over. And so, like all the couples that they studied, if they had one or of those four, even just one,
mhm,
but what ends up happening is usually there's at least two or three swimming around in a marriage.
mm,
And what I've seen is women can typically have contempt and be
mhm,
critical, and men are typically defensive and shut down most of the time.
mm,
Sometimes it's
mm,
different, but in my work with people, it's usually the women have these two and the men will often have those two. I mean, there's variations, that's not everybody, but if you think about your own marriage, and if he calls them the four horsemen of the apocalypse,
yeah.
you know, stonewalling, defensiveness, criticalness, and contempt. If you think of your own marriage, what do you see in yourself? Like, don't try to think of what you see in your partner. Like, are you critical? Do you shut down? Are you super defensive? Do you have contempt where nothing the person does, you just are disgusted by everything that the person does and find yourself rolling your eyes, either physically or in your head? You're
Mm,
headed for disaster, like you're doing this, like what you're saying. So I would say acknowledge that and then turn that around. Like, what are some of the things you can do to turn it around? And that would be a quick way to get through therapy quick. If you do that assessment on yourself, go to a
mhm,
therapist and say, look, this is what we looked up, this is what I'm doing, how do I stop it, this is what I'm doing, how do we stop it? And then go from there, instead of sitting through like 3 months of assessment and getting to the heart of it and then saying, this is what y'all need to do.
mm. I want to go somewhere with this. I tell a story. I had two great friends, man. I mean, just two amazing people who wound up getting a divorce. And when they got a divorce, they were compatible for friends for years as kids. But the major thing that they got a divorce wasn't so much of a financial thing, wasn't that there was any infidelity or anything out there like that. The thing about it was the individual, the guy, the husband, he was actually more concerned with his mother and the well-being of his mother or parent. And I guess that kind of rubbed, the wife the wrong way, and it just really didn't go ahead and set well. Is there a time when caring for other family members in a relationship can actually, or even friends, can be the actual demise of a relationship from actually putting that extra step forward? And have you
Yeah,
seen that?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's when you're not having boundaries or any kind of balance or separation. Like whatever it is you're attending to is consuming pretty much every aspect of yourself and you're leaving your partner out. Like people
Mhm,
do that with parents, especially ailing parents. They can do that, but usually that's a season and a lot of people ride that out. But people also do that with their children, where their
mhm.
children get the majority of their love, care, and affection, and then their partner is kind of left without that. And
Yeah.
so it
Mm,
happens, and it's like you'd have to be aware of it or listen to other people who see it and call it out, like take that in as something to consider. And if you're the spouse of someone that is doing that, putting that on the table as a point of communication, like this is what I see, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm afraid of. And then the
mhm,
person that's hearing that would have to guard against defensiveness, saying stuff like, well, that's my mom. And, I need to, yeah, it is your mom. And you probably do need to, but where are your siblings if you have some? Or if it's eating up all your time in your own family, how can you reach out to get some help with your
mm,
mom? Because it's going to end up, hurting your relationship in the long run if your spouse is talking to you about that.
mm,
And even if your spouse isn't talking to you about it, if there's no balance and there's a crossing of boundaries, then it will probably still hurt your relationship. You just may be married to a spouse that shuts down or doesn't confront stuff.
mm. You saying it so profound. I love this because this right here is helping out a lot of people I know who have either been in that or who are currently in this situation right now. And
Mm.
I know the weight of what a parent can be. I hate to say that. I know the weight of what a parent or family member or somebody like you care for would be just because their health is ailing or some other things. But I think that that individual did kind of use it as a crutch, to more than just, really, yeah, that the mother maybe actually going through things, but it really wasn't going through things as much. And I
Yeah,
do
could
think,
be. Yeah.
yeah, I do think that
No.
that was the cause and the demise of that relationship, just because
Yeah.
they wanted to go on ahead and do that. I shout out to you, PC. Conflict avoidance.
Yeah.
That is good, PC. Thank you, PC. Interesting. Listen, I think a lot of people they would rather that. They would rather put the blame or put something on this rather than dealing with a situation head on. Rather than
Yeah.
like as in PC says, conflict avoidance, rather than taking that avoidance, taking that conflict and saying, you know what, let's get to the root of it together and rather do it apart. And would sabotage an amazing relationship because of that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, that happens often because of fear. People think that if I really dig in, if I really get into this, what is on the other side? Or it's going to be too hard. And it is hard, but it doesn't necessarily have to be too hard. It might be extremely hard, but the more you work at it, the more to the other side you'll end up getting to. And it becomes, the changes that need to happen, it will happen over the time if you keep working it. But
awesome,
yeah, people do
awesome.
use the responsibilities outside the family or outside their immediate relationship as a reason why they don't want to, or they don't have time to work on things in their relationship.
Awesome. And I love PC says, and parents can manipulate.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
There's a
sometimes
huge
they do.
Mm, there's a huge manipulation with parents. I I'm not even going there. But yeah, there's a huge manipulation with parents or with some sort of family member. It could be an uncle, it could be a child, it could be, I don't know who it may be. There could be
Yeah,
manipulation on a lot of different sides with that.
yeah.
Now I want now we gotta definitely get ready to bring the couples on. But one quick thing I really wanted to go on. How do we actually break down this level, which we're getting ready to bring these couples on as well? That you actually had very interesting questions with. Talk to us
Wait,
about that.
say that again. You broke up a little bit. What was the question?
Yeah, I said, how can we actually, talk about and break down, some of these topics that we're actually getting ready to bring some of the people on? How can we actually break that down for somebody out there who may be dealing with unforgiveness or who may be dealing with this style of things? How can we actually bring that down or even asking for an apology? There's some people, man, I know who don't know how to ask for an apology. You know, uh,
Yeah.
they don't. They just don't know. They don't know should they ask for an apology from someone. You know.
Yeah. Well, we're not really taught, most of us are not taught that growing up, like how to apologize, how to ask, for forgiveness or anything like that. And so what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to show your guests and you and Renata like a tool that I use. And the way I introduce this tool is from the idea of when you are apologizing, when you're asking forgiveness, it's typically not a good idea to start with "I'm sorry," because so what? You're sorry. Like what does that do for the person that you've hurt or that you've offended? So starting with "I'm sorry" is not really that effective. And even if you say "I'm sorry" and the person says okay or that's okay or something like that, there's still a residue of whatever it is that has been done that's still sitting there and harming the relationship. And so I teach this 5 steps of an apology tool. And the first step, and I highlight this in my book, like in my book, Many Voices, One Truth, there's an area, one of the interventions or one of the exercises that I give to people it's called the 5 steps of an apology. And so again, you never want to start with "I'm sorry." "I'm sorry" is actually the third thing. But the first step is acknowledging what it is that you've done. And so what that means is when I fill in the blank, and did this, and you talk about what you did because you want to acknowledge it. Because a lot of times when people say they're sorry, and then the other person asks, "You're sorry for what?" They don't know. They just know it's uncomfortable. They just know they've done something wrong, but they haven't really thought about what they've done, and so they're just apologizing to squash the friction or to squash the tension. So acknowledging what you've done kind of it helps with that. It helps you to state to the person, I know this is hard, I know this is what I've done, and here it is. The second part is empathy. And so following saying what you've done, you want to say, and that must have made you feel this, that, and the other. And so you want to think of 2 or 3 feelings that the person probably felt as a result of you doing what you're doing, right? And so the reason you want to do that is and you don't want to ask, how did that make you feel? The reason you want to ask is because if you get it right, then the person sees that you see it from their viewpoint. Empathy is our ability to stand in the shoes of another person or see through their eyes. And so by naming, even though you're guessing, you might be wrong, but at least you're trying. So by naming 2 or 3 emotions that you think they felt, you want to ask, is that what you felt? And then whatever they say, you would say, tell me more about that. Even if they said, yeah, I felt those 3 emotions, you want to say, tell me more about that. So the second part has a 2B to it. So 2B would be the tell me more about that. And then you listen to what it is they're saying. And to the best of your ability, you want to reflect back what you heard them say. So I heard you say that because of this, you did feel, hurt, rejected, and lonely. And this is what it's made you, depressed, or you find that you're going to bed early. You find that you can't concentrate on work or at work. You can't concentrate because of all of this stuff. So you want to reflect back what you heard the person say. And then part 3, that's when you say, I'm sorry, because all that stuff in number 2 is what you're really sorry for. Yes, you are sorry because you did whatever it is you did, but you're sorry. The biggest part of the apology is the fact that you've hurt the heart of your loved one, the fact that you've done, you've made them what they feel like when they talk about all of that, however it has impacted them. You give them a chance for catharsis, and catharsis is just a psychology word for the releasing of emotions, like pent up emotions. So when they're doing 2B, and you've asked them to tell me more about that, and they tell you, you're giving them the chance to get all of that out of their system. And that's what you're apologizing for as well. All that stuff that was in their system. And so then number 4, you want to ask, will you forgive me? And forgiveness is a request. It's not something that you're entitled to. It's not something that you're owed. It's totally up to the person. Like most of the time when you do an exercise like this, depending on what's going on, the person might say, yes, of course, or I already forgave you, or whatever. But they might also say, I don't think this is something I can forgive. They might say, I don't know, I need a little bit of time to think about this, to process it. Someone just said, like, forgiveness only works if the behavior stops. And so especially if it's apology only works if the behavior isn't repeated. And so that might be something that they have to process. Like, how many times has this been done? And so you might not get I forgive you, or yes, I forgive you right away. It might be something that the person has to process. But no matter what they say, you want to make sure you do number 5, which is, how can I make this up to you? Or how can I make amends? And the person that's on the receiving end of that question, what you want to do is think of a behavior, think of something that you want your partner to do as a way of making it up, as a way of making amends. And then the person who's doing the apology, you make sure that you do that you carry that out. So yeah, those are the steps. And we'll walk through them. We'll walk through them with each couple.
All right.
So,
all right.
Renata, have you thought of something that you either want to apologize for, or that you want to ask Lambo for an apology for?
Actually, no. We have a good communication thing going on. You think I need to ask him for an apology?
Yeah, I do. I do. I got a couple things that I would love apologies for and stuff like that. You know, listen. I apologize.
Okay, so I'll walk you through it. I'll walk you through it.
You gonna walk me through it?
Okay, I want to hear this.
Okay. She says that I be snoring too much, right? And then she gets on me about my snoring, right? And I apologize because I be tired. I put in a lot of work. So if I need to snore and wake the whole house up, that's me snoring, right?
Yeah, but snoring though. You joking, but
no, that's you know that's just about it and stuff like that. That's you know, they ain't too much.
So what do you want the apology for, Lambo? You want her to apologize for asking you to stop snoring, or just for bringing it up?
Talk about me taking the cover and pulling the cover away from her at night and keeping it
does
cold.
that.
I do that. I do that. I'm a cover bandit. I will definitely take the cover and the blankets from you. So yeah, that's apology, baby. I'm sorry for taking the covers from you at night.
No, that remember, that's not where you start.
Where do I start then, Tracy? You got to tell me where I start.
Okay, so at first, the first thing, I'm going to go through the steps really quickly, but then I'll just help you guys and walk you through it.
You got to get this right before Larry and T get on here because we got to get this
right.
So
number one, you want to acknowledge what you did. That was wrong. You know, whatever it is. And then,
I told her I stole the cover from Mom. I'm sorry for stealing the cover. I am.
Well, no, you want to do it in this way. Acknowledge what you did, and then show empathy by saying, and this must make you feel like this about our relationship. And you pick like 2 or 3 emotion words that you think it probably makes her feel, and ask her if that's how she felt. And then whatever she says, you would say, tell me more about that. And then Renata, you would tell him more about that. You would talk about, well, yeah, when this happens, you know, it makes me feel like I want to go into another room or whatever the case may be. And then number 3, Lambo, you want to say, I'm sorry. And then you want to ask her, will you forgive me? And then Renata, you want to tell him whether or not you forgive him or whatever the case may be. And then number 5, you would ask her, Lambo, what can I do to make up for this? Okay.
Well, I got this tea. So this tea makes up for everybody. Everybody know what this tea is. It makes up for everything. So listen, let's go. Let me get this straight. Okay.
Acknowledge what you've done.
I acknowledge that
you keep me up at night.
I do keep you up at night, and I play videos
all night.
I really do.
Yes,
I play a lot of videos because I do a lot of research.
Videos. Yes, you do.
So once I leave from my office, I play research videos, and I play those research videos, and I know it does keep you up at night, and you be, you know, ready to go into the next room and go sleep with the kids. She tells me that all the time.
I go down to the extra room.
How do you think it makes her feel, though? What are the feelings, can you guess, that comes up for her?
You know what? I think, well, the number one, she's pissed. So I know she's hot. She's pissed. I mean, let's just be real. And she's agitated, very agitated. You know, this time she took the remote and then she hid the remotes, and then she has her own remote on the phone. Like, she's got an app that she makes a remote. You won't even touch the TV now. You know, so I think that's a little bit of spite. What do you think? That's spite? That's spite. That's spiteful.
No, you don't bring any of that in when you're asking for forgiveness. You don't bring in.
I can't bring that in. What am I supposed to do on the table then?
Well, because what's going to happen is you guys are going to start arguing about that. And what was originally intended to be an apology, you turn it on her and what she's doing. And there's no movement. There's no movement forward with that.
You're going to have to help me out with this one, Tracy, because this is kind of a little bit rough right now. Okay.
You have to stick to the steps. Like you can't bring in things in the steps because it'll just make you guys go around in circles, and then it becomes about her instead of about what you've done, and that's not fair. Because she has a legitimate complaint. Like if she's trying to go to bed and you're trying to do research, and
Yeah.
that TV or the sound and the light, do you know that with light, it messes up your melatonin? You know, our bodies make these melatonin at night, and that makes us sleepy. And even if she were to cover her eyes with a mask, like Renata, if you cover your eyes with the mask, that'll help. But our skin absorbs light. And so even though you're covering your eyes with the mask, the light from the TV or from his phone or whatever light is coming in, it's still getting in your system and messing with your melatonin. So it's
So
not
now
fair.
is that different than the melatonin that we take to go to sleep?
That's right.
That we get the kids with, you know, because you got to get them melatonin or NyQuil.
Yeah, if you're giving kids, that's kids should not be having to take melatonin. The reason our kids are taking melatonin, and I see it at Target and Walmart, melatonin for kids should be able to go to sleep on the drop of a dime. The reason they can't is because they've grown up with screens, and at the end of the day, their body is not producing the melatonin that it's supposed to. If you want your kids to come off of that, then cut them off of screens probably before dinner, or at least a couple of hours before they go to bed, and make the lights dim. You see how in my office I have these dim lights? And so I have overhead lights, but to promote relaxation, because people come in here to work, then it sets the mood, you know, for people to talk about their tough stuff and to kind of relax into it. In the evening, when there's dimmed lighting in the house, it allows for the production of melatonin. But the blue light coming from the TV and all of the different screens and stuff, it blocks the melatonin.
It blocks it?
It blocks the production of it. That's why we're giving it to our kids, because at the end of the day, their bodies are not producing the melatonin that it should. So, but going back to the TV, even if Renata were to cover her eyes, the blue light, it's still getting in her skin, and it's still going to be disruptive for her to be able to go to sleep. So when you guys are doing this, you bring up what it is you want to say you're sorry for, and you go through the steps without, but I do this because, or just because I do this, now you do that, because that's always going to go south. That's always going to go into the direction of an argument. Because it's not about what she's doing. She's asking you to stop doing what you're doing.
All right. So
I'm waiting.
See, listen. I know what I do. I honestly, then this is truthful. This no games, you know, letting everybody know this is truthful. I do really understand that. I leave that TV on and pull the covers off. You tickle your feet, cut you with my razor toes. I even may pass some gas sometime, but that's just to wake you up, to make sure your nostrils working. So listen,
he does it for attention.
Yeah, now she may pass gas on me and get my nostrils going. Then I got to run out of bed. But listen, I do acknowledge all the things that I've done in that bed. It definitely upsets you. Then I really, really, really desire to do something even better and not allow that to interrupt with your melatonin, with your sleep, with your patterns. And I do ask for your forgiveness for me interrupting your beauty sleep.
So what do you say, Renata?
I'm going to forgive you. But will you do it again is the question.
I'm Lambo Dude Channel 1. Yes, I will. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not even going front on here. I know me. No. I'm going to try. What I'm going to do is, Tracy, I'm going to look her dead back in the eyes and say, this is going to be the result. I will definitely do my best effort to make sure that I try to cut that TV off, to cut it down, to not cut your toes up with my toes, to not pass gas, to wake you up at night, to not steal the covers away from you. Because I know how cold you be. You be freezing at the end of the bed. She be shivering like that. You know, I'm not trying to do that. Not no more. Okay. I am. I'm a really, once I actually see it, and not just on the show, not just because we're in front of everybody, I'm gonna really try to go ahead and make the steps to make you have a more comfortable sleep.
Okay.
Okay. So normally what would happen, Lambo, is number 5, after you ask for forgiveness, you would ask her, what can I do? And then you would let her come up with some solutions. Like, all those sound like solutions. They sound like they would be workable. But Renata, is there anything that you would like to see him do to make this up? Like, he named some things, but what do you want?
For him to make it up to me?
Yeah.
Don't give her that glory, Tracy. Listen, please don't let her think. Don't let her think like that, Tracy. Don't let her. See, Tracy, listen.
No, this is not. Lambo, you wanted to do this topic. This was.
But why we got it? Did you see what she just said? I'm not the type of guy that's trying to go get pedicures. That's Larry. Larry's the type of guy.
That's what she wants you to do, is get a pedicure?
We can go get pedicures together, manicures.
Go get a pedicure then.
That is Canard Heaney all the way. Anybody know
But Lambo, if you're promising her that you're not going to be cutting up her feet with your toes, then you have to address your toes. And unless there's some other way other than a pedicure to do that, then, marriage is a two-way street. And if this has been a problem with you guys, like, disrupting her sleep, and whether it's with the TV or whether it's because your feet are jacked up, then putting forth the effort.
I got hammer time in my feet, Tracy. You just give me
I don't know.
He got hammer time in his feet. Not Lambo.
I don't know.
Not Lambo, man. Hammer time. Lambo got time in his feet.
Well, pedicure is what she asked for. And usually what people do is, you ask, what can I do to make this up to you? And then my advice would be that you do what your partner asked.
We even have extra bedrooms. He can go downstairs too. There's a guest bedroom downstairs.
It's cold down there. It's warm next to her. She won't put me downstairs when it's cold and it's warm next to her and stuff like that. What I look like?
And typically that's what I do. That's what I do after we go through the 5 steps. I will, help the couple to brainstorm solutions. And so, like, if you guys have other rooms that you can be doing this in, then that sounds like a viable solution. That sounds doable.
Tracy, listen, this is not the way the leverage show is supposed to be going. You gotta retract this back. You have to do something that's beneficial for Lambo here. You just said for me to go down 3 flights of steps. It's cold down there. I've been down there. I know what that room feels like. I like
a space heater.
Next to me, man, and I like my wife lays sleeping next to me. She's about warm.
Get a space heater. Get a space heater. Put some sweat. We have those. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what? Are we done or are we finished in my Birdman voice? Are we done or are we finished? Because I got to bring Larry and T in here on this one. This is not the solutions that I'm trying to get to. But I got you, Tracy. I get it. I will go do this pedicure like she said. But I'm not about to be liking it. I'm not going to like it at all. I'm going to sit there pouting all in.
Well, be open. Be open to it. You might like it. It might be a lovely experience. It might be that you find your way going to the pedicure place every other week because you like it. Like, Renata, find a nice place where they're going to pamper him and make him feel really, really comfortable. It might be nice to go someplace where they serve like mimosas or something like that. Let it be an experience, for him. And then Lambo, it's like, if you're going to go to Renata and apologize for something from your heart, and then ask her, what can you do to be better? And then tell her, oh, I'm not doing that. Then that's not going to let you guys move forward.
So what you're saying is I have to compromise. I want you to get this right. You want me to compromise my feet? You want me to compromise a cold bed in a cold room? You want me to even compromise as much as me not pulling the covers off, man? I ain't gonna lie. It be cold in my house. My wife keep it like more cold. Like if you ever Like, you ever been in our house? Like, people know, like, it's like Morco.
He has menopause.
They ain't got no flies flying around in our house or nothing like that. Like, if they sneak in, the flies is just dead.
He
It's
has
just
menopause.
over. I got menopause.
That's you.
Let's bring Larry and T in here. You better stop all this.
Before we bring Larry and Tiade in, when you say you want me to compromise, it's not what I want, it's what you guys want. You're the one that brought up the feet and the TV, and you asked her what she wanted, and one of her solutions was that you go in a different room. So that's between the two of you guys.
Does that, Miss Tracy? Come on, we got to talk. We got this. Me and you. We on left. So, does that sound like that's a safe thing for a man like me? Just look at me. I mean, look at this. I'm even wearing a husband estimated shirt on that she didn't picked out. You already know this is all brownie points for this show right here. You know that, right? No man is walking around here just in their right mind like, yo, we got this shirt. We did it now. I even got our partners, Larry and T, because of her with the same shirts. You know, me and Larry ain't gonna be at no golfing or we playing ball with these husband and T shirts. This for this show. You gotta work with me, Tracy. You gotta say, hey, you know what, Lambo? Maybe that room may be a little too cold. You're right. You can at least stay in your room.
I could say that. I could say that, but to me, that sounds like a reasonable solution. It's not like you guys are in like a 1-bedroom apartment where, you know, or there's nowhere to go. It sounds like you guys have options in your house.
But listen, I want
and I'm not on Renata's side, and I'm not on your side. I'm on your marriage's side. And if this is going to help, you know, with this issue that comes up with you guys, then figure out what needs to be done so that you address it, so that it's not something that keeps coming up.
I can dig that. I can dig that, Miss Tracy. I got
pedicures. Yes. Thank you, Tracy.
We love you, Tracy. Thank you, Miss Tracy.
You're welcome.
All right. Next up, that Larry and T. Welcome to the Leverage Show. Hi, put y'all in the hot seat.
Hi, Larry and Tiade. So have you guys been listening and listening to the steps and whatnot? And do you guys have an idea of, you know, where to go?
So I thought this was going to be couples family feud. I don't even really know. I was tricked.
Hey, homie, we got you here, right? Got him.
Okay, so do you guys, either one of you guys have something that either you want an apology from your partner for, or something that you want to apologize? Because the tool is called 5 Steps of an Apology or Asking Forgiveness. And then I'll walk you through each of the steps.
So I'll apologize, because I just feel like after watching Lambo, it's just a lose either way.
Man, take it across the 10, homie. Let's go.
You know, but my feet straight, so I don't need to do all that.
See.
So what I'll say is,
let me before you start, Larry, let me have you guys do this one exercise that I usually have couples do. And Lambo and Renata, you guys can do it too, but my apologies for not thinking of having you guys do it first. And then I'll have you guys do it, and then I'll tell you why I had you guys do it. Okay. So Larry, take your hat off or scoot your hat back, and you guys, each of you, and you guys too with your hats, turn it around so that you guys can face each other and put your foreheads together. And like hold hands if you can, and you want to breathe in each other's scent, like smell each other.
So put your forehead Y'all don't even understand what's going on right here. I have played so much music for this girl. She knows that just me breathing in is amazing at this point. Thank you for this, Tracy. I like this. Let's go.
Okay. So put your forehead, and Tiade, make sure your forehead is touching his and not the hat. Okay, so take in 3 deep cleansing breaths of each other. So smell each other deeply. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Andrew.
All right. All right. So what that does is scientists have found that that is a natural relaxer
I
for
feel
women.
relaxed over here. You see my eyes just go back in my head. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
good.
It's like it's better than Xanax. Like if you are stressed out and you smell your husband's neck or you smell your husband's scent, and when you guys do it to each other, it's calming for the man too, but it's a reset for your wife and for your biological daughters. So like if you guys have daughters, that's both you guys's, it's the same thing. If you have a stepdaughter, it doesn't work. There's no connection there. You guys might be connected and have a relationship, but it's a man and wife thing, a husband and wife thing, and a biological daughter thing. So anytime you have to talk about something that's difficult or hard, do that first. Okay. All right. So Larry, do you remember what step one was?
Yeah. So I think it's acknowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna have to help me.
Okay. So acknowledge.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
As we go through the steps, right? I can do the acknowledge part and kind of whatever, and then I stop. And then if you tell me the next step, and then because I think Lambo only did two steps.
I did all 5.
I want to give a real example.
I did all 5. I just did
I want to do it properly.
Now
yes, I will walk you through it. I'll walk you through it.
Already wearing these t-shirts around here.
So acknowledge.
Yes, acknowledge what you've done, what it is you're apologizing. So look at Tiare and then acknowledge to her.
Okay. So I realized that over the last 7 to 8 months, I have been aggressively trying to pursue and do all this business stuff, and I have not included you in it. Not to say I haven't included you, but giving you updates, but not and moving like large sums of money and doing these things and denying access to the kids to things because I'm trying to do all of these things. And I can see from the other side. Wait, am I getting ahead on the steps?
No, that's okay. Keep going. You're doing great.
You're doing good, Larry.
I'm doing great. You're doing great. Go
ahead, Larry.
It sounds like you're going into the empathy part where it must make you feel. So go into that. That's the next part.
That's step 2.
Yes.
See, he took all the notes. Go ahead, man. He took my notes. Go ahead, bro. I went through it.
I can see how that could make you feel anxious or shake security or a little confused and not understanding, when I maybe pause some plans that we had going on or something else going on and create a level of anxiety, going forward or shake the stability of our household.
So ask her, is that how you felt?
Yes, I did. I also felt like you had a lot of stuff, you were stressed out, and then I could help you, but you weren't giving me chances to help you by not including me. So whenever you're stressed out, I always want to make you feel better. But I wasn't able to because I didn't know how I could. And from before, I would say, I can do this, I can do that. And then you never really was like, so I left you alone. I was like, oh, he doesn't need my help anymore. But then when you were getting stressed out and it was a lot on you, I was like, I didn't know how to help you because I didn't know exactly what was going on, how I could help. So it made me feel even more left out and that I couldn't provide a solution and help you with what you were trying to do.
Okay, so number 3, so you want to say, I'm sorry to her.
I'm sorry. I'm
and
sorry.
then ask her, will you forgive me?
Will you forgive me?
Yes.
And then ask her, what can I do to make it up to you?
What can I do to make it up to you?
Just include me with things that you're doing so that I can help you, because I have a whole skill set that I can do, that I can help further what you're trying to do for our family.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, that's. I think that was
Yeah.
good. Hey,
Yeah,
that was good.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
I
this
know,
one.
I know we got grilled. We got grilled through this whole thing. I gotta go sleep in a cold room. I gotta go get the stuff. I gotta do a lot of things on my end that I wasn't comfortable doing, man. And all they got, they did it right. Oh, just help include me. That ain't including me sleeping in another room and cold bed, 3 stairs. Okay, let's go. Yeah, Larry and T, come on, man. Larry, come on, man. Tracy, you gotta grill them. You gotta grill them. You gotta ask them, what was it? What was it to make you feel this way? And how do you
No,
because
he asked her how can he make it up, and she told him, and he accepted it.
I didn't accept mine. I'm not.
That's why you got real.
I didn't accept it well. I mean, that's not a good acceptance, Tracy. When you gave them a good ultimatum, like they just, oh yeah, well, I accepted. I apologize. I had a list of demands of going shopping, sleeping in the cold room, getting a pedicure, getting a whole lot of stuff that just went left field that wasn't benefiting me at all. None of that benefited me at all. But thank you, Larry and T, for setting the bar, because y'all didn't really set it. PC Fitness said it. That was good, Larry and T. Shout out to y'all. I think y'all have worked with Tracy on this before the show.
Look, we're just trying to support Tracy, give her, an example that's, so when people rewatch the broadcast, I wanted to make sure that I was following the steps. He
was taking notes.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Apology.
And so maybe what Lambo and Renata, what you guys can do is try one of the solutions that you guys came up with, because it was your guys' solutions with regards to the pedicure and the other room. You guys try one at first, see how that goes, and see if that's helpful, and then add another one. See how that goes.
Now hold on, Miss Tracy. Listen, let's talk about this repercussions, right? So if I go sleep in the other room, now I'm cold in there, and I'm the only one fighting with covers myself, right? And not just that.
Hold on.
That's not a good thing.
I don't think she said sleep in the other room. She said do your research in the other room.
That's still sleeping in the other room. You know what I'm saying?
So if you went and did the research in the other room, and then when you were done, you went back to the master bedroom and you went to sleep with her.
More research. That's me. That's Lambo. I'm a research. I'm gonna be up. That's me.
So you're gonna end up falling asleep doing the research.
That's how I do. That's how I roll.
That's what he does.
And then get up, man, and be ready to roll like a tank.
So then perhaps maybe try this. Give yourself amount of time or amount of videos, whatever it is you're researching, like telling yourself, okay, at this time of night, I'm going to stop and I'm going to return to the bedroom with Renata. Or I'm only going to watch 2 videos, take some notes, and then I'm going to return. And then that way you put a cap on yourself so that you're not researching and then end up falling asleep in there.
You said watch 2 videos. You know what Lambo do, Miss Tracy?
How many do you?
In one night, do you know? My wife can tell you. It's probably about 50 videos in one night. I'm rolling. I don't play.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a tank. It's when you see Kobe Bryant over my shoulder. He's a California. Out there, your neck of the woods, Miss Tracy. There's a reason in everything, man. I do what I do. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I love the results that we do. So, Yeah.
Well, okay. So this is a side thing. There's such a thing, and I forget what they call it, But there's a thing where when you're taking in information, at some point, all the rest of the information that you're taking in is just not really going in there. That's why they only have.
You'd be surprised what Lambo can remember.
It goes
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Okay. All right. But then, okay, so maybe instead of 50, maybe you can cut it down to 49 and go to bed, and then 48 and go to bed, and then 47. Like, keep shaving off the end of it until you feel like, okay, I can get to bed now. I'm not falling asleep in the research room.
Can I tell you the real reason why I be up late researching like that? We got kids that be up, right? And we call them little cock blockers, is what we call them, right? We call it DNA specialists, right? They just sneak on in, and anytime it's daddy and mommy time, they already know it, what's getting ready to go on. So,
Not all of them.
well, not all of them do it, but the two little ones do it. And we know what they're doing, so we let them enjoy themselves. And then it gives me time to research and stuff like that. So I do a little research. And then when I get that chance to finally they wear themselves out, then I can come ahead and I can wear the missus out, you know? I mean, it is what it is. It's just part of the nature of the beast. You already know what time it is. That's why I just sit here and drink my tea, Miss Tracy.
Okay. Yeah, good job, Renata.
I can't.
You know,
I mean, I think both of you guys did a good job. I think both sets of couples did a good job going through the apology. But what I want you guys to keep in mind is if you're the one apologizing and asking forgiveness and asking, what can I do to make this better? Be open to what your partner says that you can do to make it better. I mean, if you don't want to do that part, you could leave that last one off if you feel like it's going to be too much, but it won't really bring the healing, because, you know, the other thing about when people just say, I'm sorry, there's no amends for that. They're sorry, but then they don't do anything to make it up. Making it up brings closure, brings completeness to it. So be open to it. Okay.
I like that. Could I do like a role reversal? You know, I know she gave me a things to be able to say, hey, to make it up. What if I gave her a list of some things that she would love for me to make it up with? You know?
Yeah, when she has something that she wants to apologize for, and she goes through all of the different steps, and then she gets to number 5, how can I make amends? How can I make it up to you? Then you would try to think of a behavior or something that she can do. And then Renata, you would carry it out.
I'm firing her up, Miss Tracy. She already know, man. It'll be going down, man. I'm firing her up, Miss Tracy. It's going down. You ain't got to worry about it and everything. You're going to be looking like, nigga, you just moved the whole kitchen in the bedroom, sure did. Strawberries, honey, banana, whipped cream, the whole 9. It's going down. I'm going to tell you that right now. You already know what time it is, man. Listen, I love you for that. Thank you, Miss Tracy, because I can't wait to go give me an apology. I'm just gonna find out you're gonna do something wrong. You owe me an apology. I need to make it up with you somehow. And it's going down. And I got my tea with me too. Thank you, Miss Tracy, for the tea.
What is that tea?
It's an aphrodisiac tea.
Yeah.
Oh, Renata. Renata, you're so lovely. You're just like.
You already know what time it is around here. We ain't got 4 kids and everything just by looking at each other. Old folks say it better. It don't make them.
Well, you have to be in the same room for that.
Exactly. Got to the TV on.
Don't worry about it. Don't. Never mind. We're gonna leave that one alone. You had to censor that one out.
Well, the other tool that I have is something called a marriage systems check. That is really good for your marriage. And it's not something that I designed. I used to go to these little marriage workshops that my church would have once a year. And it was like kind of like an evangelical thing where you invite couples to come and get a tool to work on their marriage and stuff like that. And the name of this workshop was called Marriage for Dummies. And it's kind of like you've seen those computers for dummies, Excel for dummies. It's the people that wrote those things. They came up with this idea of like different systems that you can put in your marriage to make your marriage wonderful and lovely, and where both of you guys feel loved and secure and things like that. And so one of the exercises is a weekly check-in called the marriage systems check. And the first thing on that list is, you give mad props. So you want to say, you rocked this week, and here's 5 reasons why. And then you want to name 5 things that your partner did right that you thought was awesome, right? And then you want to say this. The second thing on the list is, here's 1 area of improvement. And you don't go into 10 areas. You just say, well, it would be better if this week, you can put the trash out the night before the trash man comes, so that I'm not chasing him down the street with our barrel, right? So it's just something like that. And then the third thing that you want to do is look at your calendar together. Like, I have these shows, Lambo, I have these shows that these are the guests that are going to be on. What's going on with the kids? Is there soccer? Is there, basketball? Is there whatever there is? Are we going to church? Like, you want to put in the givens of like church, work, things that you do every week, but then other things that are just thrown in, so that you guys are on the same page with regards to your calendar. And on that calendar, you want to put a date night. Like, the healthiest thing for your marriage is to go out once a week with each other, and it doesn't have to be a Friday night, a Saturday night. It could be lunch on a Wednesday afternoon. It could be breakfast on a Tuesday morning, but making sure that you get that one-on-one time where that's your date time. So all those things go on the calendar. And then number 4, you want to talk about your feelings, your goals, your ambitions, your frustrations, your fears, your needs, etc. And the reason you want to do this is because that's probably the kind of stuff you guys talked about when you dated. You were very interested in sharing your dreams and sharing your hopes and your wishes. And you were very interested in hearing that about each other. And so, like, when my husband and I we've been doing this for like probably 18 years. And so when we do it, we will go to a happy hour, because at happy hour, you can get like sliders and like cheap food and a glass of beer for $3, or a glass of wine for like, $5 or whatever. And you just sit there and you go through this list, and you hear each other out. You want to make sure you're listening. And then number 5, you want to talk about the children. What's going on with them? Are there any feelings that need to be addressed? Does one or the other of you need to talk to them about something? Are there any discipline needs? Is there anything going on at school? Are they about to get kicked out of soccer, or whatever the case may be? Like, number 5 would be the children. And then number 6 would be finances, overview. Like, where are we? Why was that check bounced? Or, is there something going to be late? Or do we have extra? Like, what's going on in the finances? So you're both, in the know about that. And then number 7 would be household management. Are there things that need to be fixed or repaired or replaced? Is the dryer on its last leg? And do we need to, circle back to finances to start putting some money aside, because that thing is going to break, any day now? But like, or do we need to get a repairman that's going to come, and fix something? And then number 8, you want to pray together, or have a time of like silence or meditation together, where you close it off with a prayer and like a moment of silence. And so I usually recommend that people do this every week. Like, disclosure, my husband and I, we don't do it every week anymore, but earlier in our marriage, we pretty much did it every week. And every now and then we come back to it. Like, I would say we probably do it at least once a month, or, sometimes it's once every other month. But the idea of that is because in a marriage, most of the time we only notice what's wrong. And the reason we do that is not because we're ungrateful or because we don't like our spouse, but we do that because our brains is wired to look for problems and to assess for safety. And so the reason we're pointing out things that are wrong is because it messes with our sense of safety. It messes with our ability to feel at ease or at peace, and we want to fix something. So the psychology behind doing the 5 things first is you open with that, and it forces you each week to notice, because the first time you do this, you're not going to be able to name 5 things. You're going to be naming dumb stuff, or, you know, being silly about it. But then the next week, you're still not going to be able to name it unless you write it down. And so then you're going to be like, okay, I'm not going to mess this up. By the third week, people are usually, they're writing it in their phone, and they could pull their phone out at the restaurant, or if you're sitting in your backyard doing this, and then talk about those 5 things that you notice with your partner. And I'm telling you, you guys, it promotes such gratitude in your marriage, and it makes you notice when your partner is doing something right, because most of the time we primarily, or in some cases only, notice when your partner or when our partner is doing something wrong.
I like that. I can't wait to reward you with 5 things. Tell you everything you're doing right, girl. I like the way she smiles. I can do it right now on camera.
Go ahead.
I love the way you smile. I love the way, not just that, you take care of the family, the kids. Like, that's just amazing. That just rocks out. Not just that. She be fixing my plates, y'all, and she'll have everything all nice and neat and all lined up and stuff like that. Like, if I'm around my wife, everybody knows this. She makes sure I ain't got to get up if I'm ever out. She takes care of everything. I ain't got to get up to go do nothing. Like, no, I'm fixing your plate, baby. Don't worry about it. Just sit right there. I got you covered. I'm going to make you feel like this king. You need water. You need a glass. Let me pour you something to drink. I'm like, girl, I'll pour you anything you want to drink. I pour my own drinks, girl. But it's such an amazing. I love the way her servitude is amazing. She gets the kids already ready for church like every Saturday. So we ain't even got to worry about that. She keeps the house immaculately clean. Like, if you ever come to my house, you can eat up off the floor. Literally, I don't care what time of day you come, which is an amazing thing, because I've been to some people's houses and I don't even want to drink a glass about it. They pantry cupboard, whatever it is, because they got some stuff that's going on. Yeah, it's not good. But I just love the way that she just carries herself. She even prays. For me, I think that's one of the biggest things, man. Always pray with each other, always setting motivation stuff to really help her out. So, I mean, I got a list of stuff. I like the way that you look, you know, when you have your workout gear on. Like that. I love the thing back there, girl. I told you, let me stop, Miss Tracy. Trying to keep it together out here. So, in other words, I just love the way that she just does it. I just love her. She's an amazing lady. And we've been rocking together strong 20 years, man. We'll give it another 20, 25 more great years, right? Can I get a kiss? Or a forehead nod? Yeah, let me do the Kadeem. But no, I think that we spend so much time, Miss Tracy, and this is the truth, that we spend so much time pouring into other people. My wife, she spends a lot of time, like, always talking, always texting, always pouring into other people, while still maintaining the ship with our own kids, with our own family, with our time that we always have together. And I think that that's an amazing trait when you look at the way marriages and, you know, people are just doing life together. It has been different, and they haven't been, you know, functioning on those cylinders, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been
well, that was beautiful. You came up with 6 things, like, right off the top of your head. So that's awesome. So yeah, and so I highly encourage. I could email you the list, because I can't see how, because I would just type it in the chat, but I can't see how to do that. Am I allowed to type? Should I put it in the private chat?
Then we can put it. If you want to do it in a private chat, and then we can just paste it to there, and people can actually see it. You know, that's cool. I already know I'm gonna get my issue after this. Yeah, I said it live on live TV. I'm gonna get my issue after this. Yeah, Miss Tracy. I'm just saying. I'm already and everything, man. Swirling my drink. Y'all know when they swirl that drink around, it's over with for a man.
It's number water.
It's over with. Hey, T, if Larry ever swirl that drink, it's over with. You already know. We call that good night, Irene. My niece is saying yes. Shout out to your niecey Pooh. I see you in the building, man. Showing love. Thank you, Poops. Popping on here, man. Seeing your honor, your uncle, man. And some wonderful guests on here making it do what it do. PC definitely say Lambo is trying to get that night right. Oh, you already know. You already know. That's the end of the ball game right there, boy. I gotta tell you. I done wore my shirt. That means that right there is a brownie point. Thinking I done gave us 6. Tracy counted it. I done gave us 6 wonderful compliments. That's another brownie point. Thinking. And then I done sat back up here and got one of her homies to come on the show. That's another compliment. Shout out to Larry and T on that, man. So this is 3 brownie points right here. I know I'm good. I'm Betty Crocker tonight. Let's go. Call me Dog and High.
So on this thing, I forgot to put a 4 on number 4, but 3 is plan calendar and 4 is talk about feelings, goals, and stuff. So I'm almost done. Things to fix.
Okay. Awesome. Let me,
All right, and then pray. Number 8, always end with pray together.
No, that's what I was trying to do because
Yeah. And you guys, if you're doing a time of silence together or meditation together, it just means that you're sitting together in the same room and, being silent and just kind of ending what it is you just did and going through all of these steps.
Now, usually we in silence, and I'm gonna keep it 100 after some nice hard sweating and wonderful blessings going between us. That's we in silence, and this be good, man. She can go to sleep. I can go to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can do this before that, like go through the 8 steps and then get together and then go to sleep. That's fine. That works too.
Baby, whatever we need to work, we gonna make it do what it do. I'm like my Luther Vandross was. I can make it better. You already know. Here, I'm putting that right there. That's the first 4. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first 4 right there. Now I'm putting together the next thing. Y'all already know. Is that it? That's right.
You skipped number 3. You did 1, 2, and then you went to 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that
one
was
area because number 3 is plan calendar. Put in the givens like work.
So
church,
what happened
kids,
is, when I tried to put it in there, it didn't. Don't worry about it. I got it right here. It didn't go ahead and paste it. Boom.
So
that's
for your
there.
viewers, where it says talk about, that's step number 4. So he's going to put in step number 3. I just forgot to put the number 4, but talk about is number 4.
So this is part 3. Playing your calendar right there.
Yes.
Definitely
do that together. Talk about your calendar together, especially if something unusual, like one of you guys have to go out of town or something like that. Yeah.
I love this.
For everybody
Tracy,
to be on the same
giving us so much information and couples information to be able to be blessed by this. This is definitely. You want me to?
Before you put the next one.
Okay. All right. My wife definitely she's doing her thing on it. Let me know how to space it out and stuff. Yeah.
Larry and Tiare, where are you guys located?
We're in Maryland.
Okay.
Far
Have you guys lived there your whole lives?
Nope.
about 13 years.
Okay. Where are you guys from originally?
I'm from North Carolina.
I'm from Hawaii.
Okay. I'm from Louisiana, but I live in California now.
Born and raised, they know, baby. They know what time it is in that Louisiana dirt out that dirt won't hurt, baby. Come on now, make it do what it do. Listen, I got it right there on there for y'all.
There you go, yeah. So yeah, if you guys can like go through these 8 things at least 2 or 3 times a month, I recommend every week, like, either end the week with it to prepare for the next week or begin the week with it to prepare for the week that's coming up, and just taking that time, like, You could make it as short or, draw it out as long. Like I said, when my husband and I, and when we do it we still go out and, go through these things and have this talk and stuff. About, full disclosure, when we first started doing this, we were doing this so that we don't get into an argument over it. By being out in public and, being where there's other people, kind of helped us in our youth and in our fire and passion to have some kind of accountability. But then we just started, we liked it. We liked going out to do it. Like now we probably wouldn't get into an argument over these things, but we just like going out to a restaurant, and you kill two birds with one stone. You get that date night in.
Man, that's important.
It is.
That's important, man.
We do that.
That's important. Man, come on now. Let's see, my baby dressed up. So Tracy, let me tell you something very significant. We were in DC. We actually got a chance to meet up with Larry and T literally like almost a month ago. And we got a chance to go to some amazing places. The Black Swan was amazing time. So if you ever get a chance to go out there, definitely check it out. And then we got a chance to go to a night's concert. Now, my baby posted a post where it actually shows Larry and T dancing on there. Really amazing. Anybody check that out, man. They was in a zone. And to see them in there like this, I see T was in there like this, and Larry was there. Yeah, baby. It was an amazing time. And having fun with this couple. And we actually told them about this show and this happening and them coming on. And initially, right? Let's do it. They say, let's do it. It wasn't even go, and it's like, let's do it. I said, yeah, man, Tracy would love this. And so we're ecstatic about them actually coming on today. And just some great friends for life. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Well, y'all definitely welcome, man. Now, listen, I got some great stuff where people can go ahead and they can get in contact with my lady, Miss Tracy, out here, the wonderful special host of the night, who's got me now going to get a pedicure now at this moment. Shout out to Tracy. Only Tracy can do that. Listen, make sure everybody goes like and subscribe right here to Tracy, right here on this channel. And make sure you guys tap in to some of the amazing work and products that she's actually bringing out. For those who are definitely have interest in some of her work, make sure you guys are definitely reaching out to Tracy by any means necessary, especially through this link, and see if you guys can probably schedule something to probably get you guys' life together, because I know we didn't got something together tonight and stuff like that. Yeah, we all in agreement now. So yeah, just because of Tracy. So shout out to Tracy. Get Ayana Vazan. That's her name. That's it. Ayana Vazan. That's it. What it is?
Take it. Yeah. Anyala. Her name's hard to pronounce. Anyala. Ayanla.
Now you even and I even Tracy is right here. Ayana. Don't have me Lambo up here, man. Like I'm fumbling over the name and stuff like that. You know that thing is hard name to spell.
But I do know if he doesn't stick to his word, we'll have another session.
What'd you say? Look at me.
Another session, huh?
I'm not getting ready to go sleep in no cold room.
So you gonna
don't worry about it.
iPad up?
Listen, don't worry about it. I'm putting the iPad up and everything else and stuff like that. Yo, Pieces Smith said, what's wrong with him? You already know what's wrong with me.
I don't know, P.
That's just me being me, baby. We ain't gonna go ahead and take it back, man. I mean, look at this. Y'all think I ain't gonna flirt with this? God gave me this. You already thought I'm flirt with this. I'm flirting this the end of time, baby. So she already know. Hey, Tracy, tell her get her T game up. Hey, listen, we love y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all for really rocking on the show tonight, man. With us on this Leverage show. Thank you, Miss Tracy, because you have made another epic. Now, this is Relationship Talks with Tracy. It's not the Leverage show when Tracy is on here. Like, literally, she's revamped it. It's no longer the Leverage show. When Tracy comes on here, it's like Relationships Talks with Tracy or Family Healing Talks with Tracy. Is that okay, Tracy, that we renamed it?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That is it's not the Leverage show. It's transformed. It's Tracy Taris when she comes on here. It's just fully transformed and configured. Only Tracy can do that. So thank you, Tracy.
Well, you're welcome. Maybe next time when I come back, like in 2 months, based on what Larry and Tiare were talking about. Larry, when you were apologizing for, being super focused on whatever it is you're building and not taking time and, for the family and just kind of zeroing in on whatever you're zeroing in on, that made me think about another tool that I usually help couples with, and it's not something that I developed. I actually went to a workshop, and even the person of the workshop, she didn't develop it. She put it together based on some book that she read, and it's called The Seasons of Adam. And what the idea behind it is that men have a season that runs parallel, like seasons, and their seasons of life run parallel to the Bible, starting with Genesis all the way to the end of the Bible. And so like the first season is spring and it's Adam and he's in the garden. And then the second season is summer and it's David and all his stuff that he went through. And then the third season is, and that's the Old Testament. The third season is fall, and that's the New Testament, and that's Jesus and what he was doing and all he went through. And then the fifth season is winter, and that's the cross and what that means, how that parallels a man's life. And all of this is how it parallels, a man's life. And then the sixth season is spring again. And the character in the Bible is God, and what that means and what it looks like. And the idea behind that is not all men make it to that second spring. But when they understand these seasons, and when the wives understand these seasons and stuff like that, then you can journey together through these seasons of man. And it would help you to, be supportive as a wife, and help the man to be, not so not condemning of himself, because these are seasons that every guy goes through. So yeah, if you're open to that, I'd like to talk about that a little bit. And then, have wives come on. Huh?
You want to talk about that with me?
No, just in general, just like, but you gave me the idea of it. Your apology gave me the idea of, that might be a good, because like when I've gone through that with wives, a lot of times they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So
We're going to have, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be the LTT show coming back. The next time you come back, it's the LTT show. You watch what I'm saying. We'll have all y'all three right there just like literally going in. And I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. I would like that. Would you like to see that? The LTT show. Oh, my goodness, man. Yeah, we got to – this will be amazing. Yeah. So, Tracy, let me know that if you do decide to bring that back, how would you actually love to do that? Would you actually love to have a same panel like this, same guest to come back on? Or is that something that you're just going to be willing to talk about and just have Larry and Tina?
Yeah, well, let me think about it. But off the top of my head, I would say I think a panel is lovely. I like when there's guests and things like that. And I like when you have questions that you've gathered from people that you serve, and you bring the questions, and then I do my best to answer them. But like walking through what the seasons are, I'll even see if I could find that book. It's an old book. I don't think it's something it might not even be in print anymore. But my friend did such a good job of putting together a workshop for this, and it was for women and stuff like that. That I just use it in my practice. Like I'll take those seasons and help them understand. Most of the people I see are in the New Testament, the Jesus phase, because what Jesus was doing was preparing for when he wasn't going to be here. And that's what husbands are doing. Like they're working, they're trying to figure out, like, if I'm not here, how is my family going to be taken care of? And, stuff like that.
It's facts. I like that. You like that? I like that. I love that, man. Now I got a suggestion, right? And I really want to hear from the people. I would love to do something on just straight romance, what it is for real marriages or real just people who are maximizing their single season, to be able to have something with just romance into it. That would be something amazing right there.
So something on romance.
Something on romance, because I think that there's a lot of people who may not understand the full definition of what romance is, and they may have an idea of what they think romance is. But what is real romance? What does romance look like God's way? What does romance look like the marriage way? What does romance look like the single season way, where people are waiting for that one to be able to say, hey, God, you brought them into my life. Let me romance. And just to be able to give some great signs and great direction would be amazing, Tracy.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So for your listeners, like if there's anything that you guys out there would like to see talked about, reach out to Lambo and then he'll let me know. And then I'll put something together for sure. My last client just came in. And so I have to leave you guys.
You all good. You all good. Thank you, Miss Tracy. Thank you,
Miss Tracy.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks, Renata.
We'll see you next time. Thank you.
All right. See you guys next time.
You too. Bye-bye. Listen, everybody. Listen, we have had an amazing time tonight here on the Leverage Show. I hope y'all guys got a chance to really enjoy this. Definitely, I had a chance to do life with my bride, my wife, my right-hand girl right here, man, Renata, my baby. Hopefully y'all really enjoyed it, and y'all enjoyed it to its entirety. And a lot of people just don't know. Being able to ask for forgiveness is probably one of the biggest steps and biggest hurdles that not only married people actually struggle with, but also single people in their single stage struggle with as well. Make sure you're taking and using some of these tools that you learned tonight to use right here on this show to be able to help further your relationships, further your marriage, or further and maximize your single season. So when you do get ready to find that one that God has connected you with, you will be able to truly decide and decipher what is the right way, what's the wrong way, what's the correct way to do things, so you can have a more healthier relationship. Listen, we love you guys. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Again, I got my shirt on, husband established 11/28/05. My baby got her shirt on, wife established 11/28/05. Girl, we got you in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Larry and them had their shirts. I forgot what their shirt said. Larry and them, they got on off of here. Don't even worry about it. It was what? 327? 327, 2000?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, they got us like 5 years, baby. So, shout out to Larry and T for definitely coming on here. Shout out for Tracy for definitely going here, being able to talk about and open up to some things to help our twos, man, and further our marriage. Now, listen, y'all, I truly, truly, truly thank each and every one of y'all. Totally, this show rock. We definitely, Tracy, you know, we'll be back in another 2 months from now. She comes like every other month right here on this Leverage Show. Y'all make sure y'all don't want to miss it, and make sure you guys are sharing this out to your family members, your friends, and anybody else who may need this. All right? Till next time. Hold on. Look, Larry says, yep, you guys have us. We got 23 years in. Hey, thank you guys, man, for definitely doing that, because that's beautiful. Amazing, amazing show. Great show. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. PC, an excellent show. I love this. I love this. LA Law, love this. PC, love this money. Thank y'all so much for literally like staying on, tapping into this broadcast, and really making this broadcast what it is. You guys make this show what it is. We're over the 15,000 mark because of them, right? Not because of us, because of you guys sharing this and getting this video out to so many people. We thank you guys, man. Make sure you guys watch the replay. Finance Fridays. Definitely going to do a Finance Friday tomorrow.
I'll make sure he'll do it.
She's going to make sure I'm going to do it and stuff like that, because, again, I'll be able to get a little NyQuil tonight, man, for my nada. So thank you for everybody for tonight. You guys already know I told you I didn't put my brownie points in, so it's going down. Listen, I love you guys. And as Donnell Jones says, It's been a long.
He's been singing that song, guys.
It's been a long, and I'm yearning.
Yeah, stay there, Larry.
Woo! We out of here, man. We love you guys. Take care. God bless. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of The Leverage Show. We out of here.